Hey, everybody who's on Zoom out there, we were a little delayed. We had a reporter locally that came out to cover the story, and they're not allowed inside, so we had to do it out in the courtyard, and it's really cold out there. Yeah. So thank you for your patience and hanging in there with us, everybody. How are we doing?
I've got to put new batteries in and we're good.
We're almost there, guys.
Okay, I'm good on mine.
Hey, Lee.
Yeah.
Everything's on?
Yes, we are live now.
All right, so thank you everybody for joining us on Zoom and on Facebook Live. You know, every graduation is special because so many obstacles are overcome. And success is the highlight celebrated every day at World Services for the Blind. Today is special because our graduate was our very first scholarship recipient. Our donor believes that just because you don't qualify for traditional funding sources, that your life is worth less. They say you can't change the world by helping one person, but that you could change the world for that one person. Day one, Joanne came to us homeless, hopeless, hungry, and broken. 19 months later, she's living here with a full life, with hope, with worth, with love, after being told that no one will ever love you again. She not only leaves us successfully rebuilding her life, but she leaves fully employed, and as of tonight, for the first time in 19 months, she'll be sleeping in her own bed at home. Before we turn it over to our instructors to speak about Joanne, I have a special surprise on Zoom. The person that Joanne calls her angel, Mr. Farrell, is the person who envisioned that he could take what he has been blessed with and help people less fortunate, not giving them a hand out, but a leg up. But before I turn it over to Mr. Farrell, Joanne, I want you to remember that your scars are a reminder that they've shaped the person that you are today, and that these challenges that you have faced and overcame always was a part of your plan. So you have a testimony going forward. So Mr. Farrell, I'm sure that you have something to say to our graduate. And Lee's going to put some pictures for anybody who can't see. Lee is going to put some pictures up on the screen, and she's going to share her screen. And if you look at the top of that screen, it shows day one, and then it shows a progression of who she is today. And Mr. Farrell, you're in the center of that screen with somebody who has a great big smile on her face. So go ahead. Is he there? Is he logged in?
He is, and he's not. Oh, he's connecting to audio.
Okay, there we go. Do, 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 do. Is he still connecting?
He is. Yes.
He may need to log out and log back in.
Are you there, Ryan?
Dick has been showing connecting for the last 10 minutes, so I think there's something wrong with his connection.
All right. Hey, hold on just a second. I'm going to put you on speaker because you are, hello. Because you're still connecting on audio on Zoom, so.
I'm now trying to get through my phone. I've got, pretty sure I've got Zoom loaded to my phone. I was trying to go to my desktop at my house. I guess that's.
Well, that's okay. You are on live right now, and up on the screen shows the progression from that day one and then all the way around to what Joanne looks like today. And in the center of that screen is you, a beautiful picture of you and Joanne. So you go ahead and speak to the graduate.
Well, have I missed the ceremony?
No, it's just starting. You just missed me, and you know that, you know my rhetoric, and I apologize for our late start, but we had a reporter here, so let's go ahead and we're gonna have you speak directly to Joanne.
Joanne, hi. I'm still trying to get a visual here, but audio's great. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Struggling with technology. I need to go to school up there for a little while.
It's a lovely thing to learn, because I learn a lot.
Well, first of all, I'm just enormously proud and happy that this day has come finally. I know I followed your progress all the way through, and Sharon and I and all the other staff were just so pleased that for you. And my only other thought would be you are always going to be the first of our fund that Sharon and I created over a year ago. And it's my intent, my heart, that as long as there is a WSB, and there are people, deserving people like yourself, that would like to come, that could not any other way, then our fund will be in place to help.
That's great.
You have anything that you want to say to him
Yes,
while he's on?
yes. I want to say thank you, Dick, for believing in me and getting me here to WSB. Because I'm lost, I didn't know which way I was to go. And you're able to let me get up here. And I thank you, you're my angel.
I feel very privileged and blessed to be able to help. I really do.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And so now we're going to turn it over to our graduation team so that everyone can share some stories. And let me tell you, in 19 months, we have some stories about Joanne. So, and thank you once again, everybody who's on Facebook Live out there. And as Mr. Yarberry comes up here, we appreciate people on Zoom and Facebook Live. Hello to all of our Hot Springs Lions out there, and our board who's on, and everybody else out there in the world who's on. So
Here you go, Mr. Yarder, our Director of Education and Training.
All right, all the instructors, I want you guys to come up and stand up here with me. It's required. Okay. Y'all just stand in the line so they can see you on here. Yep, because we're facing this way. So we're doing it a little different, but change is good. So first thing I want to say is success, honestly, with Joanne, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Joanne, is that right? You got it. So we have a couple instructors who weren't able to make it today. Our assistive technology instructor, Darianne Morrow, and our Braille and adult education instructor, Miranda Walter. So I want to cover our programs, and you guys are going to hear a little bit about them, and we're going to tie that into Joanne, of course, as our graduate. But in our assistive technology program, we know that the world is full of change. Technology is always changing, and our program here teaches individuals the tools they need and the skills they need to be successful as far as technology is concerned. And with Joanne, she loves shopping for those groceries on that Walmart app. And she's always got to have those essentials on Amazon. Every Amazon box comes through, probably half of those are Joanne's. But she can do that because of our assistive technology program and because of the skills that she's gained through that. As far as Braille and adult education, reading and writing is an essential of the first world. The U.S. is a first world country, we know that, and literacy comes along with that. When you lose your vision, you lose that, what most people consider to just be, you're born with it, courtesy, you've got literacy. Well, not in Joanne's case. When she lost her vision, she lost her ability to read and write. So our adult education and Braille program has given her those tools and skills to be able to read and to write. It's given her her voice. So at this point, I would like to pass it on to our instructors. We'll give it to Lisa Reynolds, our mobility instructor, first of all.
All right.
And then, yeah.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So orientation mobility. It can be a challenging and rewarding class.
Flip the switch up on there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or hold it
Or
close.
hold it closer.
Hold it close. Okay.
It's like a lollipop.
Don't lick it though. Oh, there we go. Okay. There you go. New things.
I'm telling you, change.
Orientation mobility. It can be a challenging but rewarding class. It can also be a very mundane and repetitious, doing the same thing, working on the same skills every day. And also the environment can be unpleasant. Be really cold or really hot. We could all, let's say around Fair Park, if we're traveling on the sidewalk, there could be loud, noisy cars playing their music. Also, there could be some unpleasant smells coming out of the car. Questionable smells that seem to be rampant around Tyler and Fair Park for some reason. There could be a leaf blower, some noise distractions. So there's different things that go on in mobility. However, Joanne, from the get-go, decided she was going to learn, but she was also going to make the class fun. So, in mobility, for example, we have a term that we call the bumps on the sidewalks, on the wheelchair ramps. They're called truncated domes. Well, Joanne, first, when she heard that word, she thought it was drunken domes. So I went with it. I said, well, we'll call it trunk. It's easier to remember than truncated domes. Another one that she did was an audible, it's an audible signal. It's called accessible pedestrian signal. And it has a locator tone. And it goes beep, beep, beep. And it sounds like a heart monitor. So she called it a heart monitor. So every time I go by there, I think of Joanne and the heart monitor. Joanne, when we're walking, let's say I can remember a time when we were walking on Fair Park and allowed somebody playing their music very loudly. So instead of complaining and saying, I can't hear the traffic, she started dancing to it. And then I started dancing to it, and so we had fun, and I guess people watching this were wondering what we were teaching people at World Services for the Blind, and maybe also what we were smoking, I don't know. But she's fun. Another story I could think of in the same neighborhood, we were walking on 28th Street, and I was trying to teach her how to stay in step and in rhythm with her cane swing. It's an important skill and it can prevent you from running into poles. So I thought, how can I get her to focus? So I knew Joanne likes country music. So I said, sing a country song and we'll try to get the rhythm. Well, Joanne, you're gonna help me with this. You came up with a song that was the most depressing, but it was the funniest song. It was about an ex, right? It was something about if you get kidnapped or run over by a train, I won't miss you, but I'll pray for you.
Yeah, I prayed for you if the fire pot, no, I said, I wish the fire pot falls, but the window feels like I'd like to hit you.
So, of course, we just started dying laughing. We couldn't focus on staying in step. But so we had fun with that song. One more story. In the same neighborhood, there's a wide corner with a truncated dome. And she was having difficulty finding it because it was a wide corner. So we practiced. Then finally one day, she found it. She tapped her cane, snapped her fingers, and moved her hips and said, I found the drum. Oh, it was cute. But we always had fun and mobility.
Yeah.
And you put fun back into mobility. All right. Next.
I had Joanne in keyboarding. It wasn't as much fun as mobility. It was a learning experience. When Joanne first came into keyboarding, she said, I used to could do this, but I can't do it now. And I said, Joanne, the keys didn't move. You just got to find out a different way where they are. And I remember one of her first lessons, she typed 7 words with 10 errors. I don't know if you remember that. But Joanne progressed, her progression, she progressed up to 18 words a minute with 2 errors. And then along the way, I don't know, she got a little sidetracked. Different things started happening in her life, exciting things and a few depressing things. And she went a little backwards. And then as her life got back on track with her health, she made it up to 26, 28 words a minute with 1 to 2 errors, which is a great progress for Joanne. And she did well. She didn't have too many tantrums. Every once in a while she threw a tantrum. We say,
Wow, I
when you
was
finish, we'll proceed. She would growl like a little puppy. And one day, after listening to her so many times, I was doing something, I started growling. Joanne did well and she finished keyboarding, and we're proud and happy that she's going to be going on with her life and doing great things.
I had the honor of teaching Ms. Hancock in our financial literacy course. And over these 19 months, one thing that we've come to realize is Joanne loves her money, right, Joanne?
Yeah.
So it was not difficult at all to teach Ms. Hancock in our financial literacy course. So when I had the pleasure of teaching Ms. Hancock in financial literacy, I explained to her, when it comes to financial literacy, simply it means having the ability and the skill set to make effective and wise decisions with whatever financial resources you may have at that time. So Joanne entered the financial literacy course with a goal in mind. She already knew that she was leaving this place in a matter of months. And when she left here, she was going to have her own apartment and she was going to be employed. So when she entered the financial literacy course, we started focusing on what did we need to do to put you in a position not only to keep that, not only to get that apartment, but put you in a position to be able to keep that apartment. So one of the things that we focused on when beginning to work with Ms. Hancock was creating and maintaining a spending plan. We know how important it is to know how much income you have on a monthly basis, as well as have an estimate of the expenses that you're going to have for that month. That's going to give you the ability to get those bills paid on time, as well as give you the ability to be able to save and invest the money. Ms. Joanne also knew, At one point in her life, she wanted to purchase a home. But what we talked about was her not rushing into that decision. Maybe we're gonna need to rent that apartment for a period of time before you have the ability to purchase that home. So we moved on to what goes into living on your own. So living on your own, we know when you're renting an apartment, you need to have the ability to read that lease, right, Ms. Joanne? To make sure we don't get duped into just anything. So Ms. Joanne and I worked on the necessary steps to properly reading the lease, knowing what we're signing, and effectively making the correct decisions when she's moving on her own. One thing that I went back and forth with when I learned that I was going to be speaking about Ms. Joanne today. Obviously, there's so many stories that I could tell about Ms. Joanne over these 19 months. I think I actually met her on her first or second day here. It was actually on a holiday that we were closed, and I came in to do some work, and I ran into Ms. Joanne. And one thing we know is Ms. Joanne never meets a stranger. So the first time she met me, she treated me as if she's known me for years. So I was going back and forth over what did I want to speak about today in regards to Ms. Joanne. But one thing I want to focus on is Ms. Joanne's positivity. We know losing your vision, you can get swallowed up in a world of depression and anxiety. But as soon as Ms. Joanne walked into the doors of World Services for the Blind, she realized that dwelling on the past and the hardships that she's been through would not benefit her to reach her goals. So every time I seen Ms. Joanne, she had that wonderful smile on her face and that boisterous laugh of hers. So what I want to say, Ms. Joanne, you will truly be missed. It has truly been an adventure. And don't you ever lose that smile and that wonderful laugh of yours. And we love it. It's been a pleasure, Ms. Joanne.
Hi.
It's all.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, I shouldn't even need this.
No,
I
you
talk loud enough in my classroom. Everybody should hear me across the street, around the corner. Before I talk a little bit about Joanne, I want to tell you a little bit about what we do in my classroom. I teach techniques of daily living. And in our classroom, I teach a variety of different things, especially around the area of housekeeping and household skills and cooking. And also, but the most important thing I like to say, we teach them different ways of doing things and we meet them at the level where they're at. And then how to do it safe. That's the most important thing. And household skills, we teach them how to make their bed, how to clean their room. We teach them how to set a table, for example, or thread a needle and sew on a 2 or 4 hole button. Some of our students come in and they don't even know how to tie their shoe. We teach them how to tie their shoe. And a lot of men like to wear neckties. Of course, they're getting ready for an interview after they go through the teeth class. They're getting ready for the world. So we teach them how to tie a necktie. In the kitchen area, we teach them all kinds of things. Most importantly, how to gauge the distance from a stove, whether they're cooking on gas or electric. Teach them how to use tabletop appliances and how to use technology, things like a pen print. And that's an instrument that they use to label ingredients or organize their kitchen, for example. We teach them how to use the Google Assistant, Home Assistant. And that's a really unique thing. I use it too because it helps you with ingredients, instructions, and most importantly, Google is real patient. It waits till I'm ready, and then it leads me up. So those are some things. So if you ever think of coming, come on in. We welcome you in. But when I think of Joanne, getting to Joanne, man, I don't think you really want to be up here. When I met Joanne, when she came to my class, she introduced herself as Joanne. When I heard the name Francis, I almost freaked out because I didn't know who that was. All I knew her as Joanne or Little Sexy, is what they called her. So that's how I knew her. But Joanne reminds me, and every time I think of Joanne, I have to reflect on our mission. And the mission of World Services for the Blind is empowering people who are blind and visually impaired in the United States and around the world to achieve sustainable independence. And when I hear that statement, it makes me think of her because she is the essence of what we believe. She has overcome some adversities in her life, and she has went through and fought some challenges that she didn't think she was able to do. But she did it. She did it. There was a time when Joanne was in the classroom, and I told her I was getting ready to do room inspection. She broke out in a cheer, broke out of the classroom. I'm quitting. I'm not coming back here no more. I said, wow. And I had to chase her down, and I brought her back. And we talked about it. And I told her, you know, when you get out in that world, these are some of the things that landlords are gonna do. When they come into your apartment, they look, they make sure it's clean. They look at all of this. So it's a part of just the process of growing and maturing and being independent. And then Joanne, another story. We were in group, and we were talking about what it was like to be blind and all the challenges. Joanne just immediately took over the group, started to talk about her life story, what happened when she went blind and how afraid she was, and the things that she is doing now and all the connections she made. It was just a wonderful, engaging story. But the biggest story I have to tell about Joanne, and I brought it with me. Over there on that chair, Joanne, there's a potato. Potato, but she cannot use the potato peeler. And I brought it just in case today she wanted to do it before she leave out. But Joy has been wonderful. She is now working and she is moving around independently, but sometimes she still get lost and be bumping into the door and say, where am I? Can you turn me around? So she still does that, but today I like to say to her, because today she's moving into her own place, and I am so very proud of her. And it has been my pleasure to work with her. And all I can say is, my little sister, keep on doing it, all right? I love you. I love you.
Next, we're gonna have our incredible social worker, Mr. David Wright, come on up and tell a few more incredible stories about Joanne.
Good morning, WSP, or good afternoon, WSP. Good afternoon, Facebook Live. Joanne. So I was here kind of late last night, going through 19 months of notes that I have accrued on Joanne, trying to figure out what stories I could tell. At the end of about 2 hours, I finally made the determination that none of these can be told on social media because they're actually not rated for social media. So I'm going to bypass the actual story that I wanted to tell, which is actually a good one. So roughly around May 24th, 2019, Joanne walked into our facility. I'm trying to hold this together. And I met Joanne for the first time. And she was probably, what, Sharon, 80 pounds soaking wet?
82.
82 pounds soaking wet. She looked tired. She looked wore down. There was no sparkle in her eye. And I was determined right then that we were going to give this lady back her dignity and her drive and her determination to succeed once again. Standing before you today is not the same Joanne Hancock that I had the privilege of meeting 19 months ago. You know, all the instructors told you stories about Joanne. And the couple hours a day that they spent with her, you and I spent a lot of time together, didn't we?
Yes,
Mhm.
a lot of times.
A lot of time, a lot of late nights too.
Yeah, trying to get me back together, and now I'm not Humpty Dumpty no more.
But you know what? You did this yourself.
Thank you.
This is all you. Joanne now has her dignity back. She's stronger than I've ever seen her. She actually came into my office one day after her first or second day on the job, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And said to me, she feels like she has a purpose again.
Yeah.
Like I said, Joanne and I spent a lot of time together. We've laughed a lot, and she and I have cried a lot together. And I am proud and honored
Thank you.
to be standing here with you today to say to you, on behalf of myself, all the staff at World Services for the Blind, and all the clients, congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
We will never forget you.
You'll never forget y'all.
All right, I want to take you over here. And Joanne is going to sign her discharge paper. So let me get yours. Here's your pen. All right, Joanne, you're going to sign above the string. Right there, correct. It is now official, Joanne is discharged. So I want to present you with your certificate of achievement. I want to present you with your certificate of achievement.
Okay.
It says Joanne Hancock, Life Skills Trained, World Services for the Blind, December 3rd, 2020. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Joanne. Let's give it up one more time for Joanne. We are so proud of you and your accomplishments. All right, you want to say a few words?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to tell y'all a story about something.
Put it up a little bit closer, Joanne.
I will hold that for you.
I want to tell y'all a story about something, and it's based on a true story. And I haven't talked about it a couple of times to a couple of people. Before I lost my eyesight, I was getting ready to go to Illinois to see my daughter and get ready to have my last grandson. And she had called, and there were so many people in and out of the house because we took the leave, go on vacation for a week of a month. And I went out on the back step and I sat down. There was this mom come up out of this hole. And I was watching it. My daughter's on the phone talking to me. And this mom has no eyes. Because they've never seen a mole. He don't have no eyes. He has little bitty hands. And I'm sitting on the phone talking to my daughter. And all of a sudden, this mole takes off running. And I didn't know why this mole was running. And I kept saying, well, run, mole. And all of a sudden, this rattlesnake comes out. And you can hear it snapping this little rattle. And I sat there hollering to that mole to run. And the bow was running so hard, he hit the back, the push hole. Fell backwards. I was so mad that snake got that bow, and he was flying, y'all. He was flying. And I didn't know that this bow was going to be a big part of my life, because I had people that were snakes in my life and had venom. And they were chasing me. And I had no sight. I lost my eyesight. And these people that had venom. Anyway, this bow, I was so mad at this snake. I told him, I will get you. I will get you later. So I went in the house And I went in there and I used to have guns. And I went there and loaded my 32 automatic. And I laid it up on the top of where the dryer washer is, and there's a shelf there, and I could see out the back window. I said, I will pay you back for killing that dog. A week later, I heard that little rattle, and I was like, and I was at the dryer, and this is before I lost my eyesight. Anyway, I looked out, and I could see that snake get ready to get something. All I was focused on was that snake. I kicked that back door open, and I blew that snake away. I told that boat, see, I told you I'd take care of the snake. The things in my life, my ex-husband does some terrible things to me. And he is my snake, and he had his little villain friends and family trying to take me down. There was 9 of them trying to take me down. And it didn't win. I've made it, y'all. It don't matter what happens in your life or anything. If you want something, you keep doing it. It don't matter how many times you fall. Get back up and do it all over again because it's there. Do not give up. And I want to thank everybody here, my brothers, Sharon, Rebecca, David, Eric, and everybody. They had a big part in helping me. They think stuff in me. There's times that I wanted to walk away, but I didn't give up. And they were gonna let me walk out one time. And I didn't. I went to my room and cried, and I got back on my feet. And now look at me. I'm happy. I love my job. Got an apartment. I'm healthy. And Sharon and them made it possible for me to have surgery. I can see stuff. Rebecca's taking care of my baby. David helped me through every bit. Miss D, everybody. Miss Tony, she's my best friend, and she's going to Alaska. But we're still keeping on faith. And then I have Jennifer, and then I have everybody out here. When I got here, Rebecca told me up in the office when she did my paperwork. She said, Joanne, you're gonna have friends, you're gonna go out, you're gonna go do this and that. And she said, well, Joanne, you're gonna be able to get around this campus. I kind of caught my head and looked at her and said, no, I don't think so. I'm scared to death. But you know what? Rebecca's right. She talked to me on the phone and told me I need to dry my eyes up. I've come to a place that helped me get myself back together. And I want to thank Rebecca for everything on the phone. She's right. I'm here. I made it. And don't give up. And Miss Sharon, the first day I walked in the door, I was nervous. I was hungry. They let me eat in her office. I weighed 82 pounds. I didn't know if I was coming or going. And all my instructors have been really patient and good with me. If you guys want it, it's there. Don't get upset at the instructors. They're just doing what they need to do and help us. Yeah, we might find sometimes it's a little hard, but it's not true. It's what you make of it and how you put it out there. Because it's there, y'all. It's there. Jerry and Marina, they're all good. Everybody. It's there, y'all. And if you want it, grab it and take off with it. Don't play with it, because if you do, you won't have another opportunity.
So for all of you out there in Zoom land, on Facebook Live, just a little bit of a testimony as to what love will do. I remember one of the stories that Joanne told to me was one of her lowest days was when somebody said, no one will ever love you again because you're blind. Little did she know how much love that she would have as she walks out these doors. She now has a work family that just absolutely adores her, and she will forever be a part of this family here at WSB. And for all of you out there in Facebook, you know, since 1947, We've served more than 17,000 people from all 50 states and from 59 countries. But it's because of the generosity of one person that this all got started. But it's taken an entire village that as we went along and as time was coming out, you know, to be able to have 2 people who came in homeless and to move out with an apartment full of stuff, each one of them, it was the community that came together. It was individuals, it was other agencies. Everybody has reached out and they have been so generous. And we're so proud of the community. We're proud to be a part of this community, but we're a part of those of you listening to us on Facebook out there. We're a part of your community as well. And we want to make sure that you know that we're here to be able to help you. You know, if you have any questions as to what can be done and what's possible, and if you've listened to this video, you can see what's possible. And just remember, for all those times that people have told you what's impossible, and that when you can walk out the door and say that I am possible, Joanne, you are possible, you are worthy, and you deserve everything that life has to give you. And no, girl, your next chapter is your best one. Yes. Hey, everybody, I think, what do you think? Zoom call, and we're going to conclude Facebook Live. Thank you, Lee Rogers, for facilitating this for us. And thank you, everybody out there in Zoom.